spend few minutes, I think 5 minutes, sharing regional perspective when looking at the Vietnamese security service sector to the audience, please.
Sure. So basically, I'll try to give you a perspective of how the performance has been for various Southeast Asian countries over the last few years and how does it compare with Vietnam's story. So I'd like to draw your attention to the chart on the left side, which essentially indicates the movement of the equity market cap as a percentage of the GDP. So as you would know, as the country develops and shows strong growth, the volumes traded on the stock market would also grow. Vietnam equity market has, of course, as we have discussed, shown strong growth in the last decade, essentially on the back of listing of large banks and corporates, and that really has caused the growth. Securities market has also now become an important source of funding along with bank funding in Vietnam. So you see that the market cap to GDP for Vietnam has been inching up consistently at a fast pace since 2016 and has rather surpassed its peers in 2021. Of course, this is an exponential growth that we are seeing, but we do expect, as we have discussed earlier slides, that there's going to be a moderation in 2022. The equity markets nonetheless still offer good growth potential over the medium to long term in Vietnam. When I look at the chart on the right side, it really indicates the trend in the stock market turnover, which is the value of the shares traded as a percentage of the market cap. So a higher ratio really indicates the higher ease to buy and sell shares and is therefore an indicator of liquidity. As you can see in this chart that the Vietnam stock market liquidity is stable, but it still does lag a bit behind its regional peers. We can move to the next slide. Okay, so this slide is a comparison with India because we do believe that that the demographics and the growth story is very, very comparable to that of India, and you see in both the charts, the top one being for Vietnam and the bottom one being for India, there is a consistent inching up on the number of investor accounts in both the countries. So in Vietnam, what we've seen is that the economy has been growing at a good pace. There has been sophistication of regulations as well as higher retail participation in the past, which we are now seeing is a bit muted. We do believe that there's going to be some correction here happening, and also the rising interest rates and inflation could have a bearing on this growth trajectory. In India, also what we've seen is that the retail participation has been very healthy, systemic liquidity has been strong, and there has been a strong usage of internet penetration, which has caused this growth. And especially, you see there's a record number of 97 million investor accounts as of end of Q1 2023. Also, the discount brokers have played an important role in this growth story, as they have been offering no-frills basic discount, basic accounts where a lot of these first-time young investors have got into the net of investing. So this really has helped in the growth as well. And of course, the penetration levels in India still remain at 7%. So we do believe that there is good growth potential. This is not a new chart. Mr. Tuan has shown this chart on the left side for Vietnam. What I want to show and is the key takeaway here is in terms of the revenue mix or the revenue composition for Vietnam versus China. So we have discussed that Vietnam is heavily dependent on broking and proprietary trading as a source of revenue. When you look at China, of course, this reliance on prop trading is much lower, and there is a sizable contribution of other lines of businesses like investment banking and asset management. So we would like to see that there are newer lines of businesses which securities companies can get into to kind of insulate themselves against any major market movements and having a stable fee sort of income in future by getting into these segments. Even in India, if you see, about 70% of the revenues for broking companies do come from standard traditional broking business. So it's pretty much in line with what you see in Vietnam.